All right, this is Unit 1, Lesson 1, Integers and Absolute Value. So in this lesson, you'll compare and order integers and find the absolute value in expression. Okay. Our essential question is, what happens when you add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is comparing and ordering integers. So a negative number is a number less than 0. A positive number is a number greater than 0. Negative numbers like -3 and positive numbers like +3 are members of the set of integers. So an integer is any number from the set ellipses -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, ... where the ... means continues indefinitely. Okay, so it goes all the way to infinity and it goes all the way to infinity, both directions, so positive and negative. Negative integers are less than 0, so you can see they have a negative sign in front of them. 0 is neither positive nor negative, it's neutral. And then positive integers are greater than 0. Okay, integers such as +3 and -3 or -3 are called opposites because they are the same distance from 0 on the number line. So example 1, write an integer for each situation, then identify its opposite and describe what it means. So 23 degrees Fahrenheit below 0, because it is below 0, the integer is -23. Its opposite is +23 or 23, which means 23 degrees above 0. 11 inches more than normal. Because it is more than normal, the integer is positive, so +11 or 11. Its opposite is -11, which means 11 inches less than normal. Okay. So let's look at these problems. 1A, a loss of 8 yards. So I lost something, so that's going to be a negative number. So a loss of 8 yards is -8. So it's a loss of 8 yards. Okay, its opposite is +8, so that's a gain of 8 yards. So a gain of 8 yards, okay? That's a positive of $15. So you put money into an account, okay? So that's +15. Okay, its opposite is -15 or -15, and that's a withdrawal. All right, to graph an integer, I locate the point named by the integer on a number line. The coordinate is the number that corresponds to the point on a number line. So I graph of a point with coordinates -5. So here's -5 on my number line, there's my point. Graph of a point with coordinate 4. There's 4, there's my point. Any mathematical sentence containing less than or greater than is called an inequality. An inequality compares numbers or quantities. When two numbers are graphed on a number line, the number to the left is always less than the number to the right. So example 2, use the integers graphed on the number line below. So I have -6, -4, -2, 1, and 6 graphed. Write two inequalities involving 1 and -2. Okay. Since 1 is to the right of -2, 1 is greater than -2. So 1 is greater than -2. Since -2 is to the left of 1, -2 is less than 1. So -2 is less than 1. Replace the circle with less than, greater than, or equal to in -4, -6. So I look at -4 and here's -6. Well, -4 is closer to 0, so it's larger. Okay. Since -4 is to the right of -6, -4 is greater. So -4 is greater than -6. All right, so write two inequalities involving -7 and -3. So -7 is here, -3 is, so here's -7, here's -3, just so we know. Okay, so -7 is to the left of -3, so -7 is less than -3, and then -3 is greater than -7. 3, so -3 is greater than -7. Replace the circle with greater, less than, greater than, or equal to in -1, 2. So here is -1, here is 2. -1 is to the left. So -1 is less than 2 to make the sentence true. Okay. Bethany and her friends played a question and answer video game. Their scores at the end of the game were 1, -5, 0, -1, 2, and 4. Order the scores from least to greatest. Graph each integer on a number line. So I have -5, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 4. Write the numbers as they appear from left to right. The scores -5, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 4 are in order from least to greatest. So the recorded highs in degrees Celsius at Niagara Falls from February 21st to the 28th of a recent year are 4, 2, 3, -6, -5, -1, 0, and 1. I want to order from greatest to least, so the largest number to the smallest number. So my largest number is 4. And then I have 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -5, and -6. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -5, and -6. That's from greatest to least. So largest number to the smallest number. All right. So key concept, absolute value. In words, the absolute value of a number is the distance the number is from 0 on the number line. The absolute value of a number is always greater than or equal to 0. So the absolute value of 6 and the absolute value of -6 are both 6 because they're 6 units away from 0. Okay. The absolute value is always positive. Notice on the number line that -6 and 6 are each 6 units from 0, even though they are on opposite sides of 0. The absolute value of a number is the distance the number is from 0 on a number line. So -6 and 6 have the same absolute value. All right, example 4, evaluate each expression. The absolute value of -4. Okay, the absolute value of -4 is 4 units away from 0, so the absolute value of -4 is 4. The absolute value of -8 minus the absolute value of 5. So I take the absolute value of each numbers. So absolute value of -8 is 8. Absolute value of 5 is 5. So 8 minus 5 is 3. All right, so let's try it out. 4a, the absolute value of -3. That's 3. Oops. 4b, the absolute value of -4 and minus the absolute value of 3. So the absolute value of -4 is 4. The sign stays the same in the middle because there's no absolute value there. And then the absolute value of 3 is 3. So 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay. You can use absolute value notation with algebraic expressions since variables represent numbers. So example 5, evaluate 6 plus the absolute value of x if x equals -2. So I'm going to take that -2 and I'm going to substitute it in for my value of x. So 6 plus the absolute value of x becomes 6 plus the absolute value of -2. Then I follow order of operations. I take my absolute value of -2, which is 2, and I add it to 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So let's try it. 5a, evaluate the absolute value of y plus 8 when y equals -7. So I take the absolute value of -7. That's going to become -7 plus 8, which is 7 plus 8, or 15. Okay. For B, evaluate 9 minus 5 absolute value z if z is 3. So this becomes 9 minus 5 absolute value of 3. Okay. So this becomes 9 minus 5 times 3 because there's an invisible multiplication sign here. Okay. So 9 minus 5 times 3 is 15. So 9 minus 15 is going to give me -7. This should be 14. Okay. So -7.